dignitaries to say a few words. I thought it would be a good idea to refresh some of our memories about the history of this bridge, and it has a rich one. From 1900 to 1927, our Quesnel leaders petitioned government officials for a bridge across the Fraser to replace an antiquated ferry system. Finally, in 1927, local MLA D.A. Stoddard successfully lobbied for the bridge's construction. And in 1928, it actually became an election issue, the Conservative Party promising a bridge if elected. Kersley farmers also petitioned at that time to have the timber for the bridge secured locally. In August 1928, construction began. The bridge was to have 5 spans, 3 at 177 feet and 2 at 150 feet, for a total length of 831 feet, featuring the Howe truss system that you see here today. Its load capacity was 10 tons, designed for the traffic of the day, no heavier than a horse-drawn wagon. Originally, though, the plans called not only for steel piers, but a steel superstructure as well. And in fact, you can see that original tender in an old edition of the Observer. But these plans were abandoned in favor of concrete piers and a wooden superstructure. That superstructure work began in December of 1928. And in late January, the extreme cold weather delayed work. And it was so cold that some of the workers actually left town to wait it out. On February 9th, 1929, Public Works Department dismantled the ferry and floated it down the Fraser for installation at Soda Creek. The last span was put in place in mid-February of that year, with the first car crossing in the 3rd week of February, although it didn't officially open to traffic until March 9th. From then on, the bridge was used daily for many, many different modes of travel, and perhaps most famously for annual cattle drives of herds as large as 400, led by ranchers from Nasco, Chilcotin, Banduni, and Uchinico as well. In 1948, and this is one that really scared me a little bit, the river's water level rose to within 1 foot of the decking. Traffic stopped, waiting to see if the pilings would hold. By the 60s, half of Quesnel's residents lived on the west side, with logging trucks getting bigger and bigger. This brought about the one-way light signals. And it was around this time that lobbying for a new bridge began. In 1972, the Moffat Bridge built, and the Fraser River Bridge was designated for pedestrian use only. A number of renovations later, including the most recent one, and we arrive at today. So please join me in welcoming our Mayor, Mary Schustrom.
Thanks, Matt, and good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here this morning, and I just want to quickly introduce my colleagues. Councillor Oakes, Councillor Rudenberg, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor DePar, Councillor Ron Paul, and unfortunately, Councillor Cave is working this morning. And we have several of our local government Caribou Regional District folks. Al Richmond, the chair of the Caribou Regional District, is up for the weekend. Director Jim Glassford, John Massier, and Roberta Foss. Thank you very, very much for coming out and supporting us. And I just want to say how important this footbridge is and the special role that it plays in our city. It's a vital transportation link. It's an alternate transportation link with the other side and with our riverfront trail, as well as it's a secondary route if we needed it for emergency services, if something happened to the Moffat Bridge. But not only that, it connects the West Village with the downtown core, and I think that's very important. And when it was closed, we saw how many people really missed it. So it's remarkable, the historical and architectural feature that our community is extremely proud of. And Council invested $400,000 in this project, and I want to thank not only our MP, Dick Harris, who has just been phenomenal for us, and we really appreciate it, and we never keep trying, and he knows that, because we have lots of projects that we want to move forward. And to Economic Development, to Jim and to April and the entire team at Economic Development, this wasn't an easy sell, because we had other priorities, but you know, when you're offered those kind of funds to restore a major historical figure like we have with the bridge, we couldn't turn it down, so it made Council's decision that much easier. And today we're reopening the bridge with, and I'm really pleased to say that we have our international judges, Katie and Arlene. Thank you again for being part of this, as well as it's very significant to be celebrating it at Billy Barker Days. I also want to welcome a very special guest who I met this morning, Mr. Frank Allen. Frank, would you stand up? Because I'm going to tell a little story about Frank. And some of you might know this, some of you might not, but Frank was known as the first civilian to cross this bridge. Back in 1929, Frank's mother gave birth to Frank, and they lived on the other side of the river. And at that time, they would cross the river on the ice. And so they crossed that way, going to the hospital. But at the time that they came back, the ice was a little iffy. So upon the return, they decided, and the public works foreman, he insisted that you don't want to take that baby across the ice. So they offered crossing across this newly finished deck. And it was a couple of city workers that accompanied the family in a horse and sled and saw them back to the west side. So, Frank, I think you must be very, very proud to be here today, and we're really, really appreciative of you coming. And of course, you're joined here today by your wife and your daughter and your granddaughter. So it's a great day. And we're not done with the bridge, and just so you know, council will be looking at, a special council meeting will be looking at some of the options for lighting, as well as the entranceways, because we were under budget. And I'm happy to say the City of Quesnel isn't always under budget, but we were on this one. And with the help of and support of Western Diversification, we're allowed to use some of those funding dollars to recoup and redo the entrances. So we're really, really pleased about that. So I think this has been an exceptional project, and it belongs to the entire community. So I just want you to all celebrate with us as we officially open it. And thank you again to Elizabeth and the Museum Commission. You always add that extra bit to our heritage. So thank you very much.
Thank you for that, Mayor Sjostrom. I would like to ask any of our economic development representatives, as well as Angela from Lakeman or C2000 Construction, Lakeman Construction, if you're here. NP Harris, we're going to cut a banner and officially open the bridge. And any members of council, of course, if you're present, please come on up and join us. Sure, yeah. Everybody. Mr. Allen. And our Communities in Bloom judges are going to join us.
You guys should be up there too.
July 16th, 11:01 a.m. Norm from Normland Films. That'll be it for today. I might take a couple of more shots of the side of the bridge, but we'll see. Alright, bye for now.